What is going on YouTube? It's your boy, Mr. Random, and in today's video, I'm going to share with you guys some tips and tricks that might actually end up saving your life if you ever happen to find yourself stranded in any one of your cars in the middle of nowhere. As you guys might know, I have a bunch of project cars. They're usually not the most reliable cars, and they have left me stranded many times in the middle of the road. So I'm going to share with you guys some of the tips that have actually helped me and might actually help you, especially if you're in the middle of nowhere, how to survive. So without further ado, let's get right into it. All right, guys, then we're going to start the video off in the Crown Victoria because, believe it or not, this is actually one of the most common causes of being left stranded in the middle of the road. And we're going to talk about that in just a minute. And as you guys can see right there, that's right, if your car ever breaks down and leaves you stranded, first thing you have to do, the most common thing you have to do, is you guys need to make sure that your car has gas. Believe it or not, man, this happens all the time. I mean, you don't know how many times I've been out on the road. I'm halfway heading my way to work, halfway over there, and next thing you know, the freaking check fuel light turns on. And I'm one of those people that's very methodical, especially when it comes to my cars. I'm always on top of them, but even I slip, and I know it happens to a lot of people. You'll be out there in the middle of the highway, or you're on your way to a road trip or something like that. Next thing you know, you're out of gas and you're out of luck. But let's say you thought ahead like most of us do, and you actually have gas in your car, but your car still stalled. It still left you stranded in the middle of the road. Well, here's another little tip that you guys can check out. First thing, you're going to want to actually pop your hood. Let me go ahead and put this camera equipment here. We're going to pop our hood and actually check the fuse boxes. Now, in a Crown Victoria, normally the fuse boxes is located right here on this side, but on any other car, usually is a little bit different depending on the car, but it's usually some sort of box like this, and it is labeled. There's going to be a whole bunch of fuses. Actually, let me go ahead and open it up real quick. And as you guys can see, this box actually gives you access to all of your fuses. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, some of mine are actually pretty banged up, but what you're going to want to do is you're going to locate your fuse box. As you guys can see now, usually either in the owner's manual or somewhere in the car, there will be a diagram that labels and tells you what fuse relates to what function. So what you're going to want to do is check your EFI or electronic fuel injection fuse, and you're going to want to check to see if the fuse is broken or not. Usually how you know a fuse is broken, I'm going to try to show you guys the best way that I possibly can. Let's see if the camera will pick it up. Let me see if I bring it out to the sunlight. Here we go. All right, well, I can see it in the sunlight. I don't know how well you guys can see it, but a fuse has that arch. As you guys can see, there is an arch. If the arch is broken, and it will be clearly broken, you'll see it will be snapped down the middle. That's how you know that your fuse is broken. And if your car ever, for whatever reason, leaves you stranded in the middle of the road, you can be rest assured that the culprit will be the EFI fuse. So come to your fuel box, open it up, make sure that your EFI fuse is not snapped in half, and you'll be on your way. Now, another tip that I recommend is that you carry a spare fuse box with your box full of different kind of fuses, just in case. Now, I did have one. I can't really show you guys for the video because the Terminator Sentra of mine, I ended up blowing a whole bunch of fuses and had to use all of those. But another little trick, let's say you just so happen to have a 15 amp or a 20 amp fuse, and for whatever reason the fuse that ended up breaking was only 10 amps. Well, a 15 to 20 amp fuse will hold it down, will supply enough power for at least your car to make it at least to a local gas station, or maybe even home or to a mechanic shop in a pinch. All right, guys, and the next tip, in case your car leaves you stranded or you just break down in the middle of the road for no reason, your next tip is to check your fan belt, specifically around your alternator right here, guys. Sometimes, especially in this Mustang here, this belt is actually pretty worn and it's pretty bad, and it's my fault. I should be maintaining it a little bit more, but if it happens to fail, which it might do someday, you're gonna want to check it. Remember, your alternator is what keeps your car going after your battery cranks it up. So if your alternator is not working, if the fan belt for whatever reason ended up breaking and your alternator can no longer work, your car is pretty much gonna die. Now, some good advice is to actually keep spare fan belts or drive belts or whatever you want to call them around. Keep them handy. Maybe throw them in the trunk of your car, because you never know if you might need it, especially if you're going on an outdoorsy or like somewhere very remote you're definitely going to want to come prepared, especially with a spare fan belt. So let's say that it's not your fan belt that's broken, but your battery is messed up. Somehow in the morning you got it to start up, but your battery is so bad that when you get to your destination and you try to leave, after you take those pictures of the Grand Canyon and you are in a pretty remote, somewhere in the middle of the Utah desert or Colorado desert or wherever the hell the Grand Canyon is located, and now your convertible Mustang won't start. You know, you went on your sports trip around the country and now you are left alone to strive with the elements. And that might be because your battery was old enough and now it won't start. So this is probably one of the most recommended things to have. You're going to want to have a spare portable, specifically portable battery starter, battery charger. Now, a lot of people still carry the jumper cables. I still do, but actually the ones that I have now actually broke, believe it or not. So the best bet, the best thing you can do is always keep one of these handy portable car starter. It'll jump start your battery. It freaking charges cell phones. This thing does everything. So in case your phone dies or your car is dead and now you can't charge your battery, bam, not only can this start your car, it can also start your cell phone, and you can plug in a couple other little different things as well to maybe a fan or a little oven or something to keep you going until help arrives. The best thing about these little portable battery chargers is that if you're at a hotel or anywhere that has a plug-in, plug it in overnight and you're ready to go for your trip, and you don't have to worry about being left stranded or asking strangers to give you a jump start, because, you know, we all know that's kind of creepy. Nobody's ever going to stop for you unless, you know, you're really nice, and down here in Miami that doesn't happen too often. So best bet, carry a portable battery charger with you. Now this next one here is all too real for me, guys, and that is having a tire blowout. You're gonna want to be ready for anything, especially if you're going on a big long trip. The last thing you need is for your tire to blow out. So what you guys should have is always keep some sort of air compressor or even a fix-a-flat, which I'll get to in just a minute, but try to have a portable air compressor with you guys, because with this Crown Vic, I've blown through tires. I've gone through tires in this Crown Vic like a fat kid who's going through his Twinkie stash in fat camp. I'm telling you, it's not good. I've gone through so many freaking tires on this car. I don't know why. It's the design of them or for whatever reason, but I've learned to carry a portable air compressor, especially this one. This is very easy to use. It's kind of like one of those drills. You just kind of plug it in, you charge it. It even comes with a car plug-in as well, and it's really easy, guys. All you have to do is you pretty much just screw it on to your tire like you would anything else. You guys hear that? And then actually you turn it on. This one's already blowing, but let me turn that off. You can actually pick the tire pressure. So let's say this fills up at 35 psi. You can actually set it right here. I'm doing it right now, 35 psi, and it will stop exactly when it gets to 35 psi. For all you guys out there that are worried about overinflating your tires or underinflating them, this I think it's called an AirHawk portable air compressor gets the job done. Now, in some instances, you actually can use a can of Fix-A-Flat, although I highly recommend you stay away from those and let that be your last resort, your absolute last go-to supply, because those things really are a temporary fix and can only really get you a couple of miles before complete and utter failure. But hey, if you're stranded in the middle of nowhere, I will take a can of Fix-A-Flat to get me at least to the nearest gas station than being exposed to the elements and dying. Alright guys, and for this next helpful tip, especially if you get stranded in the middle of nowhere, is to carry extra gallons or quarts or whatever you want to call this right here, gallons of radiator fluid, guys. Now this goes back to my old Dodge days right here. I used to own a Dodge Charger SRT8, a Dodge Ram. I was a big Dodge boy back in the day, but unfortunately I had to carry a lot of those radiator fluid jugs around, guys. It's very important to keep those around, especially if your car overheats. If there's a leak somewhere and it leaves you stranded, the car overheats. You don't want to drive your car if it's overheated, if it's all the way to the H. It's very dangerous, not only for yourself but for your car. You might end up blowing something. So your best bet is to pull over, let the car cool down, and then grab your handy dandy radiator fluid, put radiator fluid back in, and at least you have enough to be able to make it to the nearest mechanic shop or gas station, or maybe even get off the highway or whatever it is. But it's very handy, guys. Keep spare radiator jugs in your cars at all times. Now, for whatever reason, let's say you just put in radiator fluid into your car and it's still overheating. Well, here is an awesome tip right here, guys, to prevent your car from overheating, or at least to keep it together for a little bit longer. And that is, put your car on heat. Turn the heat all the way up. It sounds counterintuitive. Your car's overheating. Why would you want to turn on the heat? I'm telling you, listen to your boy. Turn on that heater to the max. Now let me tell you guys why you want to turn that heater on to the max. You see, your heater core actually acts as a mini radiator, and it actually cools. It actually has water flowing through it. It will actually cool your car in a situation where your car is overheating. Remember, turn on the heat. Your heater core acts as a mini radiator. It will cool your car. It's not a permanent fix, but it will get you, definitely get you to where you need to go to fix the problem. And this is something everybody should do before going on any trip, and that is to make sure your car has oil, guys. Right here, you guys remember my video that I made in my very instructional backyard mechanical video for the everything enthusiast video with yellow yellow tinted oil dipstick right there, guys. You guys remember that, right? What color is it, guys? What color is that? That's yellow. Anyways, you're gonna want to check the oil before you leave, but it's always very handy to keep spare oil in your car. You never know, especially if you're off-roading or you're in a rough terrain location and you just so happen to hit that oil pan, or your car springs an oil leak for whatever reason. Now you got yourself some extra oil. Put it back in, get to safety, and thank me later. Now for this last little bit of advice that I'm going to give you guys. It's not car related, but it might actually end up saving your life more than any other tip that I just gave you today. And that is to always have a bug out bag in every single one of your vehicles. I am telling you, you will thank me one day. You got to keep yourself a bug out bag. Now I'm going to tell you guys exactly what the heck a bug out bag is in just a second. Now essentially what a bug out bag is pretty much a bag that you have with you in case something goes the wrong way. You're going to want to keep essential supplies in here: food, water, camping supplies, maybe a knife or two or whatever it is. But as you guys can see, I have a full first aid kit here. There's plenty more stuff that I have in here. You got your knives. I might have to just do a separate video on this bug out bag if you guys are interested, but you're gonna want to keep one of these guys, especially if you're camping somewhere and your car, a raccoon or whatever the heck just ate all your wiring, all your cable, and you need to survive. You're gonna want to have all the supplies you need. I have a bunch of storage compartments here. I have dried packets of food, energy bars, you name it, I have it. And see, I made myself my very own flint and steel kind of contraction here. I mean, this thing is fully loaded. Like I said, I might just have to do a separate video on this, but yes, you guys are going to want to keep one of these. Make sure you load essential stuff in it to at least last you either 24 hours or a full-blown 48 hours. And that is going to be it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you guys learned something. I hope these little tips and tricks will help at least one of you guys out. If it helps one of you guys out, sometime in the future, it'll make me very, very happy. If you guys are planning to go on a trip anytime soon, make sure you guys rewatch the video. Make yourself a little checklist. Make sure everything checks out. Either way, I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to give it a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe for more Mr. Random videos, and I will catch you guys with the ZFG Vader Stang and the Reaper Vic and the Terminator Sentra, and God, there's so many freaking projects going on, guys. I'll catch you guys in the next video.